Have you ever watched someone walk through life as if nothing could touch them? They move through challenges with ease, stay calm in chaos, and never seem to be rattled by the world's opinions. They seem untouchable, impervious to the noise and pressure that affects everyone else. What if I told you that becoming untouchable isn't about power, status, or connections? It's about mastering a set of hidden rules, principles that create an unshakable foundation in your life. These rules don't just help you survive, they help you rise above the noise, the judgment, and the chaos. Watch this video till the end to learn the 7 unspoken rules that will make you untouchable. It starts with you. It starts with you looking in the mirror and seeing your worth, without needing anyone else to acknowledge it. It starts with you knowing, deep down in your bones, that you are worthy of respect, worthy of success, worthy of love, no matter what anyone else says. Because the moment you start respecting yourself, the world begins to respect you back. You've been taught to play small, to shrink yourself in front of others, to seek validation from the world around you, and for a while you've allowed that to shape how you see yourself. But that ends now. The moment you decide to stop seeking approval is the moment everything changes. When you decide that you are worthy, right here and right now, is when the entire world starts shifting to meet that belief. No one can give you self-respect. No one can validate your worth like you can. And when you start treating yourself as worthy, when you stop asking for permission to be yourself, you'll notice something remarkable. The world will begin to respond differently. People will respect you because you respect yourself. You won't have to chase respect anymore because it will naturally come to you. You'll notice the way others treat you shifting. You'll realize that the people who truly matter in your life, those who respect themselves too, will naturally surround you. They'll lift you up. But the people who are only there to take from you, to diminish you, to disrespect you, those people will fade away, and it won't be painful. It will be freeing. Self-respect is the foundation for everything that comes after. It's the bedrock that supports your confidence, your ambition, and your growth. Without it, everything else falls apart. You can achieve great things, but if you don't respect yourself, you'll constantly feel like something is missing. You'll struggle to trust your decisions, to stand tall in the face of challenges. But when you truly respect yourself, you will trust your worth. You will trust your decisions. You will know deep down that you deserve everything you've worked for. So stop waiting for someone else to give you the validation you've been seeking. Stop begging for respect. Stop looking to others for permission to be who you are. You don't need it. What you need is to look in the mirror and tell yourself that you are worthy, that you are enough, just as you are. The moment you do this, the world will follow. Respect starts with you. You are the foundation of your own success, your own happiness, your own peace. When you respect yourself, everything else falls into place. And from that place of self-respect, you can rise higher than you ever imagined. There are moments when the world seems so loud, so overwhelming, that it feels like the only way to make your mark, the only way to be heard, is to shout above the noise. You've been taught that to speak out, to express yourself, is the path to recognition, to influence, to power. But what if I told you that there's another way, a quieter, stronger way that doesn't require any noise at all? The truth is, true power doesn't come from speaking out. It comes from knowing when to remain silent. It comes from the ability to resist the urge to react, to hold your ground and observe, to step back and think. Silence is not weakness, it's not avoidance, it's strength, it's control, and it's something the world doesn't understand. We live in a world that demands constant reaction. Social media, news, conversations, everything is moving, everything is demanding your attention, your response, your words. And in this rush, it's easy to forget the strength of silence. But there's power in choosing not to speak, in holding back the words that rise to your lips when every instinct tells you to defend yourself, to react, to prove your point. When you choose silence, you step out of the chaos. You don't let the noise of the world pull you in. You become the observer, the thinker, the one who sees things clearly, because you've created space for yourself to think before you act. You stop letting emotions drive your reactions and start letting your own clarity guide your decisions. Think about it. How often do you feel compelled to respond, to explain yourself, to justify your actions to others? In those moments you give away your power. You allow someone else's opinions, judgments, or provocations to control you. But silence, the ability to remain calm, to stay grounded, to not give in to the noise, that is where your true power lies. In silence, you decide what matters and what doesn't. In silence, you decide who gets to have power over your emotions. It's in the moments when you choose silence that you find clarity. You're not reacting from a place of fear, anger, or defensiveness. You're responding from a place of strength, of understanding, of self-control. And when you speak, when you act, it comes from a place of power. It's not a reaction to something else, it's a decision you've made. When you learn the power of silence, you stop giving away your energy. You stop letting every insult, every disagreement, every challenge pull you off course. You stay rooted, you stay focused, you let the world rush by while you remain centered, unwavering. And in that space of stillness you see opportunities and solutions that would have been missed if you were caught up in the chaos. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's not about running away from situations. It's about recognizing that you don't have to engage with every noise that surrounds you. You don't have to give your energy to things that don't matter. The more you learn to embrace silence, the more powerful your presence becomes. People will begin to notice your ability to stay calm in the storm. They will respect your silence because they will recognize that it is not weakness. It is your power to remain grounded, to stay focused, to rise above the noise. You've been conditioned to think that silence is passive. But it's not. Silence is active. It's a choice. It's a weapon that sharpens your focus, fortifies your mind, and strengthens your spirit. In a world that never stops talking, your silence will be the loudest thing in the room. And that silence will be your strength, your clarity, your calm, your power. There's a part of you that's been saying yes too often. You've been saying yes to other people's needs, yes to demands that drain your energy, yes to the expectations that constantly pull you in different directions. But with each yes you feel a little more lost, a little more depleted, a little more like you're losing yourself. The truth is, when you say yes to everything you end up saying no to yourself. You become a reflection of everyone else's desires, needs and wants, while your own desires are left forgotten. Setting boundaries isn't about building walls. It's not about shutting people out, it's about defining what's important to you. It's about recognizing your worth and refusing to let the world trample over it. Boundaries are the silent force that allows you to protect your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, so you can show up fully for the things that matter most. It's about having the courage to stand in your own space and say, "This is who I am, and I won't let anything take me away from that." The truth is, setting boundaries is uncomfortable. It feels unnatural at first. You've spent so long trying to please everyone, trying to avoid conflict, trying to be the person everyone else wants you to be. And now, when you start saying no, when you begin to put your needs before others, it feels like you're doing something wrong. But in reality, you're doing the most right thing you've ever done for yourself. Because when you start setting boundaries, you begin to honor yourself. You start aligning your actions with your values, your goals, your vision. You no longer allow the noise of the world to control you. You take back control of your life. You no longer allow yourself to be pulled in every direction by the demands of others. You're no longer trapped in a cycle of overcommitment and exhaustion. And here's the real power of boundaries. The right people will respect them. The people who truly value you, who care about your well-being, will understand. They will respect your time, your energy, your peace. They won't make you feel guilty for taking care of yourself. In fact, they'll admire your strength. They'll honor your boundaries because they understand that you are worthy of respect, and they want to support you in becoming the best version of yourself. But the people who don't respect your boundaries, the ones who take demand and drain you, will fade away. It won't be a loss, it will be a release. Because in truth, you're not losing anything by letting go of those who don't honor you. You're creating space for the people who truly matter, the ones who will stand by you, who will lift you up, and who will encourage you to grow. When you establish strong boundaries, you stop compromising your own peace. You stop letting the noise drown out your truth. You start living in alignment with your values, and that's when everything begins to shift. The weight you've been carrying starts to lift. The exhaustion starts to fade. You begin to feel a sense of calm, a sense of purpose that you didn't have before. And it's not about being selfish, it's about being strong enough to protect the things that truly matter. So stop apologizing for your boundaries. Stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. The strength to say no is the strength to say yes to yourself. And when you start doing that, the world around you will change. You will change. You'll become a person who moves with intention, who acts with purpose, who no longer allows others to dictate your energy. This is your time to take back control. This is your time to step into your power. The moment you establish strong boundaries, you stop becoming a reflection of everyone else, and you start becoming the person you were always meant to be. You've been there, haven't you? Those moments when the excitement is high, when everything seems to be falling into place. You're motivated, ready to take on the world, and for a moment it feels like nothing can stop you. But then reality hits. The fire fades, the grind starts to feel heavier. The excitement wears off, and suddenly you're left with the daily work, the mundane, the grind that doesn't always come with rewards or recognition. And in those moments when the motivation fades, you begin to question whether it's worth it. But here's the truth. This is where strength is built. It's easy to be motivated when things are going well. It's easy to feel invincible when you're winning, when the rewards come quickly, when the applause is loud. But what about when no one's watching? What about when you don't feel like showing up? What about when the struggle is long, the results aren't immediate, and the world doesn't seem to care about the work you're putting in? That's where the real transformation happens. Consistency. It's the rule that separates those who succeed from those who give up. It's the small daily actions that seem insignificant in the moment, but build into something powerful over time. The days when you don't feel like it, when you're tired, when the world doesn't seem to be rewarding your efforts, those are the days that matter the most. Those are the moments that shape your future. Consistency doesn't care about how you feel. It doesn't care about your excuses or your mood. It's not about the spark of inspiration. It's about showing up, day after day, even when it feels pointless, even when no one notices, even when you want to quit. Because in the long game, those little efforts compound. The person who shows up when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when it's exhausting, that's the person who becomes untouchable. That's the person who builds something unstoppable. You might be wondering if it's worth it. Maybe you've been showing up, working hard, and it feels like progress is slow. Maybe you're discouraged, thinking that the reward is too far off. But the truth is, what you're building now, in those quiet, uncelebrated moments, is the foundation for everything you want. Consistency is the muscle that strengthens your will, your discipline, your character. It teaches you to embrace discomfort. It teaches you to push through the resistance. And it builds the kind of momentum that no setback can slow down. One step at a time, one day at a time, one effort at a time. Over time, those steps turn into a path. That path becomes your destiny. There will be days when the world seems to reward others for less effort. You'll look around and see people who haven't worked as hard as you. People who seem to have it all figured out, and you'll wonder why it's taking so long for you to get there. But those moments are a test of your commitment, of your belief in yourself and in the process. The work you're doing today, the hours you're putting in when no one's watching, are laying the groundwork for something that will eventually be undeniable. Don't let the temporary discomfort, the lack of instant results, make you believe that it's not worth it. Those who truly succeed are not the ones who seek immediate gratification. They're the ones who keep going, who stay consistent, who show up when it's hard, who believe in the long game. And when you look back, you'll see it. You'll see that the work you did when you didn't feel like it, when you didn't see the reward right away, is what brought you to the place you are. You'll see that consistency is what turned your small efforts into massive momentum. So keep going, keep showing up. Even when it feels hard, even when the rewards seem far off, the discipline of consistency is what will carry you through. And when the time comes, you'll realize that the life you've been dreaming of was built on the quiet, steady steps you've taken day after day. And that's what makes you untouchable. You've been there. Someone says something that hits you deep. A comment, a look, a judgment. The heat rises in your chest. Your heart starts to race. You want to react, to defend yourself, to unleash all the frustration you've been holding in. It's in those moments when the world tests you the most. When you feel like the pressure is unbearable, it's easy to want to lash out, to let the anger flow freely, to show the world that you're not someone to be messed with. But that's not the way to true power. The world will test you, over and over again. People will try to provoke you, to push your buttons, to get a rise out of you. They want to see you lose control, to show that you're not as strong as you claim to be. But here's the truth. When you react, you give away your power. You let them control you. You let them dictate your emotions and actions. But when you respond, you take your power back. You make the choice. You remain in control. Emotional intelligence doesn't mean you suppress your feelings or deny your emotions. It means you understand them, you acknowledge them, but you don't let them control your decisions. It's the ability to see a situation for what it is, not what your emotions are telling you it is. It's the ability to stay clear-headed and act from a place of wisdom, not fear, not anger, not impulse. When you can do that, you become untouchable. You don't have to react to every insult. You don't have to defend yourself at every turn. You don't have to prove to anyone that you're strong or that you're right. When you stay calm, when you stay grounded, you are showing true strength. In a world that's constantly trying to trigger you, to bring you into conflict, emotional intelligence becomes your greatest asset. It's the thing that sets you apart from the rest. While others are reacting, while they're letting their emotions run wild, you remain steady. You stay calm, you make decisions with clarity. You hold the line when others would break. That's what makes you untouchable. But it's not always easy, is it? It's hard to stay calm when everything inside of you is screaming to fight back. It's hard to not let your emotions take over when someone has pushed you to the edge. But every time you hold your ground, every time you choose to respond instead of react, you build emotional strength. You build the kind of strength that doesn't come from loud words or angry outbursts. It comes from the quiet power of remaining in control. The more you practice emotional intelligence, the easier it becomes to stay calm in chaos. You start to trust yourself more. You start to see that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You are strong enough to stay composed, to remain true to who you are, no matter what happens around you. And that's when you become untouchable, not because you've mastered controlling your emotions, but because you've mastered controlling yourself. You've learned that your true power comes from within. No one can take that from you. The world may test you, but your emotional intelligence will be the shield that protects you. It will be the quiet force that keeps you grounded when everything else is falling apart. And in the end, that's what makes you untouchable. The ability to stay calm, to respond with clarity, and to rise above the chaos. You've been chasing perfection for so long, haven't you? Every mistake feels like a failure. Every flaw seems like a weakness. You've been conditioned to think that in order to succeed, to be worthy, to be accepted, you have to be flawless. But what if I told you that the pursuit of perfection isn't just an obstacle to your growth, it's the very thing holding you back? The truth is, perfectionism is a prison. It locks you in, makes you afraid to take risks, afraid to make mistakes, afraid to be who you really are. It tells you that you have to have it all together before you can even try. And in that process, it keeps you stuck, stagnant and small. The longer you chase perfection, the longer you stay locked in that cage, unable to move forward. You're waiting for the right moment, the right conditions, the right version of yourself. But that moment never comes. The untouchable person doesn't chase perfection. They don't waste their energy trying to be flawless. They understand that imperfection is not the enemy. It's a part of the journey. It's part of being human. What they understand, what you need to understand, is that your flaws don't define you. They don't diminish your worth. They are a part of your story, and they can be your greatest strength. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. In fact, the more you try to hide your flaws, the more you cover them up, the less powerful you become. Perfectionism keeps you from starting. It keeps you from risking, from growing, from evolving. It stops you from taking that first step because you're afraid it won't be good enough. But what if the first step, no matter how imperfect, was all you needed to change everything? Your imperfections are the fuel you need to evolve. They are the raw material that, when embraced, can propel you forward. When you accept that you don't have to be perfect, when you stop waiting for the perfect time, that's when you start moving. That's when the real growth begins. You begin to see that failure is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of progress. Every misstep, every setback, every imperfection is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to become stronger. Think about it. The most powerful, impactful people you admire, are they flawless? Do they have all the answers? No. They've fallen. They've made mistakes. They've faced setbacks. But what sets them apart is not their perfection. It's their willingness to keep going, to learn, to improve, to rise after every fall. They've embraced their imperfections, and in doing so they've unlocked their true power. You don't need to wait until everything is perfect. You don't need to be flawless before you can start living the life you want. You just need to begin to be willing to step into the unknown, to make mistakes, to fail and to keep going anyway. That's where real growth comes from. It's not in the picture-perfect moments. It's in the messy, raw, real moments where you find your true strength. The moment you stop chasing perfection is the moment you begin to truly live. The moment you accept that you don't have to be perfect to be powerful is the moment everything shifts. You don't need to wait for the ideal version of yourself. The person you are right now, flaws and all, is enough. You are enough. And once you accept that, you will unlock the door to your true potential. You will move forward, not because everything is perfect, but because you are willing to evolve, to take risks and to learn. And that is the kind of strength, the kind of growth, that no one can ever take from you. You've felt it, haven't you? That feeling where everything around you is chaotic, when the world is pushing and pulling in every direction, and it feels like you're about to break. The noise, the pressure, the demands, they all build up until it feels like you're drowning. In those moments you wonder, how am I supposed to keep going? How am I supposed to find my center in a world that's spinning out of control? But the truth is, the answer isn't out there. It's in here, in the quiet space within yourself. The real power, the thing that makes the untouchable people untouchable, is their ability to stay at peace within themselves, no matter what's happening around them. When you are grounded, when you are centered, and when you are rooted in your sense of purpose, nothing outside of you can shake you. The storms may come, the challenges may rise, but your peace remains. It's like standing in the middle of a hurricane and refusing to be moved. The winds of the world may blow, but you stand firm, calm and clear, because you know who you are, you know your worth, and you know that nothing the world throws at you can take that away. Inner peace isn't something that just happens. It's not something that you can find in an external circumstance. It's not something that will be handed to you when the world finally becomes perfect. No, inner peace is a choice, a daily practice. It's a commitment to yourself, to stay rooted, no matter what chaos surrounds you. It's the decision to choose calm over chaos, clarity over confusion, and stillness over noise. The world will always be loud. There will always be something trying to pull you in 100 different directions. People will try to provoke you, challenge you, bring you down. Life will throw curveballs, obstacles, setbacks. But when you cultivate inner peace, you stop reacting to everything that happens. You stop letting every little thing disturb your sense of self. You stop giving away your energy to the things that don't truly matter. In those moments of chaos, the untouchable person doesn't lose their cool. They don't panic. They don't get lost in the noise. They breathe. They listen to the calm within themselves. They don't let external forces dictate their internal state. They know that nothing, no problem, no opinion, no setback can take their peace unless they allow it. Peace is not passivity. It's not about ignoring the challenges, pretending they don't exist. It's about being able to face them head on with clarity and strength, knowing that you will weather the storm without losing who you are. It's about being grounded in your values, your purpose, and your worth, no matter what's happening around you. So, when the world feels like it's falling apart, you have a choice. You can let the chaos pull you in, you can let the noise drown you, or you can stay grounded. You can choose peace. You can take a step back, breathe, and remind yourself that you are in control of your internal world. The outer world may be chaotic, but within you there is a calm, steady center that nothing can take away. When you cultivate this peace, you will find that the storms, the challenges, and the setbacks don't seem as overwhelming anymore. You will find that the things that once rattled you, people's opinions, life's challenges, the struggles you've faced, don't have the same power over you. You are grounded, you are strong, and in that peace, you find your greatest strength. Inner peace is the most powerful force you can cultivate. It's the foundation that allows you to rise above the noise, to move through life with a quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. It's the strength to stand in the face of adversity and stay calm, stay grounded, stay true to who you are. When you find your peace, you become untouchable, because nothing in the world can shake you when you are centered in yourself. You don't realize how much of your life has been dictated by impulse, the urge to check your phone, the craving that pulls you into choices you regret, the moods that shift like weather and drag your decisions with them. You call them small, but they add up. Every unchecked impulse becomes a thread, and soon you're tied down without ever noticing the knots being tied. Most people believe power comes from controlling circumstances. They fight the outside world, the bosses, the critics, the chaos, but the untouchable know the real battleground is inward. If you don't master yourself, you will always be mastered by something smaller than you. And there is nothing more dangerous than a life controlled by things unworthy of that control. Self-mastery begins with noticing how quickly do you reach for comfort when discomfort arrives. How fast do you abandon discipline when boredom settles in? How often do you let anger speak for you before wisdom can? Your triggers reveal the cracks, and you cannot build an untouchable life on cracked ground. The first step isn't perfection, it's pause. A pause between craving and consumption. A pause between provocation and reaction. A pause between the urge to quit and the decision to continue. In that pause lives the power to choose differently, to let the impulse pass like a storm while you remain steady like stone. Then comes training. Self-mastery isn't a thought, it's a practice. You train it the way you train muscle. Repetition under pressure. Saying no when it would be easier to indulge. Saying yes when it would be easier to delay. Waking when it would be easier to sleep. Working when it would be easier to scroll. Each small act is a rep act. Each rep makes you stronger, until your will is no longer fragile. Understand this. Mastery isn't about restriction, it's about freedom. When you control your desires, you can choose them rather than be enslaved by them. When you command your emotions, you can use their energy without being consumed. When you own your habits, you build momentum that carries you forward without negotiation. Self-mastery turns your life from reaction to creation. There will be failures. You will give in some days. You will slip. But mastery isn't destroyed by weakness, it's forged through it. Every time you return, every time you choose again, you prove that control is not about never falling, it's about always rising faster than you fell. That is when you become untouchable, not because life stops testing you, but because you are no longer at the mercy of its tests. You own yourself, your impulses no longer drag you, your emotions no longer drown you, your distractions no longer define you. And in that ownership you discover the highest form of freedom, a life that cannot be hijacked by anything weaker than your will. You don't notice it at first. The way your mood rises and falls with someone's reaction, the way your worth seems tied to the outcome of a single decision, the way you hand pieces of your peace to opinions, to results, to the approval you keep chasing. You think it's normal, that this is just what life is. But what it really is control, and it isn't yours. The world controls you by what you cling to. You get attached to being liked, so you betray yourself to stay accepted. You get attached to winning, so every setback feels like the end. You get attached to outcomes, so the process feels unbearable. These attachments pull the strings, and you move like a puppet. You're alive but not free. Detachment is not about caring less, it's about caring differently. It's the decision to value your effort, your truth, your alignment, over the applause or silence that follows. It's realizing that peace comes not from gripping tighter, but from loosening the hold that strangles you. When you detach, you don't abandon life. You finally meet it without begging it to shape itself around your fears. Think of how much energy you've wasted rehearsing someone else's opinion of you. How many nights you've lost to the fantasy of failure or the illusion of perfection. You were chained to something you could never control. Detachment cuts that chain. It teaches you that your work matters even if no one notices. That your worth doesn't vanish because someone can't see it, that success is sweeter when it's not your oxygen. The untouchable person is steady, not because life stopped testing them, but because they stopped hinging their identity on the test. They walk into the room without needing the room to confirm them. They take the shot without demanding the scoreboard to define them. They love without chaining their heart to how it's received. Detachment builds a calm presence, the kind people feel but cannot shake. You become harder to provoke because you're not hooked by bait. You become harder to manipulate because your value isn't on the table. You become untouchable because you are no longer negotiating with forces outside of you to tell you who you are. And yes, it takes practice. You will feel the old pull, the urge to check, to please, to prove. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, am I attaching my worth to what I cannot control? If the answer is yes, let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you matter more. The breakthrough comes when you realize freedom is not in gaining more control, it's in needing less. You stop being ruled by outcomes. You stop being owned by applause. You stop being imprisoned by fear of loss. You discover that the truest strength isn't about winning every battle. It's about not being enslaved by whether you win or lose at all. That is the power of detachment. It's not coldness, it's clarity. It's the quiet authority of someone who walks forward untied, unshaken, and free.